So you're young, you're meeting all these musicians and industry people, and at some point you befriend Tom Wilson, who invites you to the studio the very day Bob Dylan was recording Like a Rolling Stone. Now, I'm not going to ask you to repeat how you came to playing the now famous organ riffs on that song, because I know you're tired of telling the story. And I would invite those who are watching the show to get Al's autobiography, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show, as it really is a fantastic, this whole thing about the Bob Dylan thing is a fantastic story of determination, combined with talent, and probably more talent than I think you give yourself credit for, and maybe a little opportunism. But I do want to ask you though, Al, was that kind of a Back to the Future butterfly effect moment? Like, if that moment doesn't happen the way that it did, does your career, relationships, friendships, maybe even life take a different path?
Well, I was very good friends with Tom Wilson, and it never we never discussed Bob Dylan especially, but I mean he would take me to New York Giant football games, and we had fourth row seats on the 30-yard line, and I liked this, but I really liked him. He was a great guy, and I spent a lot of time in his office, and that's why I ended up being invited to the Dylan session as a spectator, not as a player. And then what happened, and that really changed my life. And at the end of the Like a Rolling Stone session, everybody left, and it was just me and Bloomfield and Bob, and we were very comfortable together, which I was very surprised about.
So that moment kind of thrust you into being a bit of an in-demand organ player, and you later
not till that record came out.
Yeah, because then when it hits, everybody kind of wants that sound, right? Because it became kind of a popular sound. Is that kind of how that ended up occurring?
Well, for some reason, which I still don't understand to this day, people thought I was a great organ player and wanted to hire me for sessions. I think it was more because that I was playing with Bob, and more than what I was playing, because it was sort of early in my career, although I had played on sessions before as a keyboard player. But I was, until that day, concentrating on my guitar playing. And then the organ thing, happened, and I said, so I'll play the organ. And I had to learn a lot more about the organ in order to do that.
And you later get called upon to work with, I guess, The Who, the Rolling Stones, George Harrison, a bunch of others. And you play on Electric Ladyland with Jimi Hendrix, but he was already a friend of yours by that time, right?
Well, I wouldn't say a friend, but we knew each other. We met at Monterey Pop, where I was a stage manager. And the Blues Project was there playing, without me, because I had left the Blues Project. And so it was, that was a big experience.
So tell me about your first jam session with Jimmy. How did that happen?
Well, he invited me to the studio to play. So I went, and I got there early, and I came in, there were a bunch of guitars all set up, black Stratocasters. It was played the same guitar. For those who don't know what a black Stratocaster is, it's what he was playing at Monterey and what he was playing that day. But there were about 4 of them on stands. And I knew that they were strung upside down so that he could play them. Mr. Lefty.
Yeah.
And so I picked one up, and I couldn't really play it. It was too stupid. And just at that moment, he walked in, and he said, "Hi," he said, "you like that guitar?" I said, "I don't know. Somebody's got it strung all screwed up, and I can't play it." He said, "Well, why don't you keep it?" I said, "Because it's yours." And I said, "Don't be ridiculous." And we went and played the session. And the next day, his roadie brought it to my house.
Oh, wow.
And I said, "Oh, I can't turn this down." And I had it for quite a while. And I moved a lot, uh, uh, in the course of my career. I moved to different cities. And uh, and my house always got broken into
Oh, geez.
because people knew that I had that. And I kept it under my bed, and no one ever found it. I mean, my house got robbed at least 6 times,
Oh, geez.
and nobody ever looked there. So it was a great hiding place. And a few years ago, I sold it because I was tired of people breaking into my house.